Yum. Good morning, Dottie. Good morning. Come on. Come on. Here. So today we're gonna do something a little different, really fun. I'm gonna go down by the creek on our property, start a fire, and cook some breakfast. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna answer the questions that you guys and girls sent in on Instagram and on YouTube on the community page. So let's have like a nice, slow country morning, cook up a brekkie, and catch up, answer some questions. So for those of you who tuned into the last video, we were asking for name suggestions. We've gone with Dottie, D-O-T-T-I, because she's got a lot of little dots and spots. And we just like the ring of it. It was a name that we had come up with, but then a lot of you also suggested. So this is Dottie, and she's the newest addition to the homestead. Let's go. All done. Let's go. Good. Oh. No, come on. Let's go. Come in. Gotcha. So this is what we're gonna do for breakfast. Some bacon from my neighbor's farm, 2 farm fresh eggs from our chickens, 2 pieces of toast, multi-grain toast, and some incredible New Zealand butter. But first, we have some questions and we should get into those. Okay, question number 1 comes from Sarita Benita 93 from Instagram, and she asks, how are you and Carrie finding parenthood? I can't begin to explain how incredible it's been to become a father and to be the dad of our daughter, Eliana. Parenthood is an incredible journey, one that I didn't know what to expect, and I don't really think there's any way that you can adequately sum up the range of emotions that parenthood presents. It's one of those things that it's kind of like a roller coaster. Sometimes you're feeling incredible, other times you're feeling exhausted, but I think overall, it's something that is incredibly fulfilling. It's challenging, it's difficult, not a lot of sleep, but so many smiles, so much joy. It's incredible watching a child begin to understand, begin to learn, to see, to say dada for the first time, or mama, and to see that curiosity of a child is an incredible experience, and one that Carrie and I are eternally grateful for. We love our daughter, Eliana, beyond words, and It's been an incredible journey so far, and we wouldn't trade it for the world. Yeah. All right, next question. This one's from Miranda.Avila17, and she asks, advice for learning new things. I think that humans are intrinsically driven by curiosity. From that first moment when, hundreds of thousands of years ago, early humans figured out how to use a stick or a rock as a tool, there's been a curiosity that drives everything we do, and it continues to this day with technology and always trying to find a better way to do things, be more efficient, and solve problems. So for me, I always, first and foremost, follow my intuition and my curiosity. Everything I've done in my life has been led by following what I'm interested in versus following other things, maybe things that society says I should do, or friends or family or whatever. I always follow my instinct and follow my intuition. And I think all of us have that internal guiding compass, but whether or not we listen to it kind of varies from person to person. So for learning new things, I always like to lean into the fact that I'm an amateur. And I think once you accept that, there's a humility in it that allows the world and other people to help you along the way. Especially in the case of renovating our homestead, all of the people who I have leaned on for help, whether those are neighbors coming over and giving me a hand in their spare time, or people I've hired to do jobs on the property who've allowed me to shadow them and to ask them questions and to learn from experience with them, that's really priceless. And I think all it really requires is a little bit of maybe stepping out of your comfort zone to say, hey, I don't know how to do this, but I'd like to learn. And I think when you do that, people who have skills that you may not have yet are always willing to... Ooh, I'm hungry. I don't know if you heard, my stomach is growling, which is good because breakfast is coming soon. I think if you ask people with humility and a genuine interest to learn, then it's a lot easier to learn new skills than you would think. And life is one continual journey of learning. So follow your intuition, follow your curiosity, and ask for help, and you will learn new things very, very quickly. Let's go on a little journey. The next question is from Miel Abija, which asks, have you been able to work on the house these past few months? The answer is yes, we have. And we've been doing quite a lot of projects, but the main one that I really want to get done before summer involves the roof on our house is old. Right when we moved in, we had a property inspector, basically a builder, a licensed builder, come in and look at the whole property and assess areas of strength and areas of weakness. And the roof has been one of those areas of weakness. We've worked through a couple of major issues. Initially, there were these pipes from an old wetback, which is essentially the stove and water heater. Back in the day, used to be powered by your fireplace. And when that was removed, some of those pipes that went through the ceiling were not removed. And so that was causing a leak. We eventually got that all fixed up. But now the project that I've been working on a little bit each day is getting up on the roof, removing old nails. So right now, the roof originally had roofing nails, which have a tendency to, over time, lift just due to wind and, you know, expansion and compression, etc. They have a tendency to lift up, and then when they lift, when it rains, the water is able to go and drip down the nail, causing problems. So what we want to do is remove all of those nails and replace them with roofing screws, which are much more robust, resilient. And then once we've done that, we can get up there, get rid of the lichen and stuff that's growing on that, and then hopefully soon be able to repaint the roof and tie in the different roofs on the property to the same color. We have a nice kind of slate gray color on the sleep out and also on the garage, which I was able to do recently. So the main house is next. We'll get that hopefully done before summer, before it gets too hot. But it is a big job. It requires getting up there, pulling the nails with this double hammer technique that, funnily enough, I did not know, but learned from a builder who came and helped on the roof, taught me some of the tricks of the trade. So we have to pull that out, replace it with screws. Once all of those screws are in and all those nails are out, which is quite a big job. I'd say there's probably a couple hundred, if not 1,000 plus screws to put in there and nails to pull out. But once that's done, we'll be able to get up there and paint it. And that'll be a really big, awesome feeling, because we don't love the color of the roof. It needs some love, and little by little, we're getting there. This next question is from Leva Bognar, who asks, what was your biggest fear about becoming a YouTuber filmmaker? Honestly, I don't know. I didn't really think about it. It was so long ago. It was 2013, 2012, I started making videos. And yeah, I was living in Spain at the time, teaching English. I enjoyed living abroad. I enjoyed living in Spain and traveling around on the weekends. I didn't particularly love teaching. At moments I did, but I didn't really like being in the classroom, especially after having spent, you know, my whole life up until then in a classroom. So I wanted to do something that was creative, artistic, something that would get me out and about exploring. And I settled on wanting to become a television presenter first, but I didn't know how to do that, and I figured the best way to get going on it was just to start making my own videos. I did get randomly on to a documentary expedition in Ecuador looking for lost Inca gold, following like a 500-year-old treasure map. Fun story, fun adventure. Unfortunately, never became a documentary, but I learned a lot on that experience, and that was really what catapulted me into the world of wanting to create professionally. And so I think, you know, one of the things you have to accept if you want to make a career doing this is that you can't make everybody happy. You're not able to appeal to everyone. And so at the end of the day, the most important thing to do is to, once again, make the videos, make the content, tell the stories that you're interested in, because when you are inspired, that is what transcends the screen and connects deeply with the viewer. You know, inspiration, I believe, means having the gods inside of you. It's a Greek word, and to be inspired means to like have the gods on your side. So let's double check if that's correct. I'll put the actual meaning here. But I think about that. When I'm feeling inspired, I'm feeling like I have the powers on my side. And so following your inspiration, following your curiosity, these are the things that will help you make it happen. You know, down the line, I'd like to create a course. If that's something that you as viewers out there would be interested in, I want to make a 10-part course that would be available for purchase on my website, in which I sit down and share and break it down to how to actually make this happen. So if that's something you'd like me to do, let me know. I have been a little hesitant because I just don't know if the desire is there for viewers, and it would be a really big investment of time and energy. And so I only want to make it happen if you out there would be interested in purchasing it, and let me know in the comment section. Okay, so that is a little fairy home. Carrie and I installed these around the property. And honestly, the inspiration comes from Iceland. If you've ever been to Iceland, they still believe in fairies and trolls. And across the country, they have these little troll homes in the rock croppings and, you know, hidden around the landscape. And I just loved that. I love that idea of connecting to the spirit world. So we made some little homes for the spirits here on the property, and yeah, it looks cozy, doesn't it? Who doesn't want to live in a little tree house with a ladder and a magic mushroom at the bottom? I mean, come on. Let's check on this fire. I want breakfast. Get that opened up a little bit. Where did that glove go? So when you're cooking on fire, you don't want to put it right on hot, burning wood. You want to use embers. And so it's important to kind of let it burn down a bit. Get a good grouping of coals, and then you can start to cook right on it in that little cast iron pan. So we have a little bit longer until breakfast, which means we can answer some more questions. I'm going to switch over and answer a couple of questions from the YouTube community page. So the first one is from No Galar. They ask, hi from Spain. Hola, ¿qué tal? Oh, echo de menos España. A ver. They're asking, what book are you reading now and which book would you recommend? So currently, I just started reading a book called The Psychology of Money. And I'm not far enough into it yet to really give good feedback on it, but so far I really enjoy the book. You know, I'm at a point in my life at 36 years old and a new dad that I'm really starting to think about financial longevity and utilizing the assets that I have in the best possible way. So making smart investments. As a self-employed entrepreneur, I have my own Roth IRA and I have a brokerage account, and in those two accounts I'm making different investments to serve different goals at different time lengths. It's really important, and this is something that I wish I could tell my younger self, because I only really started investing and learning about this in the last 10 years, but really in the last 5 to 8 years. Start as early as you can. Open a Roth IRA, fund it as much as you can, preferably fill it out, maximize your contribution every year, and learn about what's happening in markets. Learn about how markets work. Learn about technology and the way the world works so that you can better understand how to make smart investments in this interconnected, ever-changing world. That's the book I'm reading right now. The book that I just finished reading was really, really interesting. It was by Peter Zeihan, who is a geopolitical strategist, and the book is called The End of the World is Just the Beginning. And even though it has kind of a dour title, it's a really interesting book, but it's all about how the world that we as millennials especially have taken for granted as this interconnected global world is changing. It talks a lot about the rise of different countries around the world that are challenging the status quo of the US being the unilateral superpower. And it is the US, the United States, and that post-World War II system that was created that's allowed for the world as we know it to work with cheap commodities and interconnected global trade. So if you're interested in learning how the world is changing and how those changes might manifest and might affect you or the economy or the world as we know it, then I highly recommend reading that book. It was really good. It broke down all different aspects of the world, from trade to geopolitical interactions to alliances to minerals, all aspects of how the world works in its current form and how that might change moving forward. Those two books, honestly, if I were to recommend anything to read right now, I'd recommend reading those two books so that you're able to understand what's happening in the world, because there's a lot going on, obviously. If any of those things are affecting you, whether it's, you know, storms in the US or war in Europe or the Middle East, there's a lot going on. It's affecting all of us, and it's really important to educate yourself on it as much as you can so that you can make smart decisions moving forward. Chad Dharma asks, how old is my beard? That's a great question. I'd say I've had a beard now for probably the last 6 years, maybe a little more. I used to do the 5 o'clock shadow, and then in my like early to mid 20s, when my beard didn't really want to come in full, it was a little more patchy. I was clean shaven, which I look back at now and I'm like, I don't think I can't do that again. And definitely my wife agrees. The beard stays. I like the beard, and now if I were to shave, I would feel facially naked. So the beard is here to stay for the foreseeable future. I don't envision not having a beard of some sort for a very long time. And then hopefully when I'm old and gray, I've got a big Santa Claus beard. That's what I'm working towards. So the beard is probably 6, maybe 7. And yeah, it stays. Louis Terrazas asks, so no more travel content ever? How can you live like that? We miss it. Okay, Louis, I agree. Sometimes I miss travel, and then other times I don't. When I'm sitting here and or I'm sitting with my family, yeah, you know, right now, this chapter of my life, I'm putting down more roots, and as a person who was pretty nomadic for like 10 years, it feels really nice to just be. And especially as a new father, I have a responsibility, first off, to be there for my kid, for my daughter, and for my wife, to help in any way I can. And I want to be here. So there is travel coming up. We're going back to the States to visit family around Thanksgiving. We're definitely going to be doing a road trip on the South Island of New Zealand in the Kiwi summer down here. Further out, an Australia trip is in the works. You know, we'll go from there. But as of right now, I'm in a chapter of my life where I feel really good being here. I want to do more outdoors content, camping, you know, fishing, being outside, and cooking outside. I really want to start sharing cooking more. I love to cook. I cook every single day, all of the meals. You know, we are not in the delivery zone, so I cook all of our meals and I love it. I love cooking. I love sharing meals with people. I love cooking for friends and family. So I want to share more of that. But in saying that, over the last 10 years, I have traveled extensively. I have shot content in probably like north of 50 countries. But in doing that, very rarely did I make the content with hindsight, being able to share my insights, my experience, and tips that you as a viewer would be able to glean important value from. So one thing I'm definitely going to do is I'm going to be going back through my adventures, places where maybe I just shot a vlog series or a daily vlog or something like that, and I'm going to be compiling those into destination guides, travel tips, and more importantly, itineraries that you guys out there can purchase and follow to use while planning your next trip. So there is travel content still coming out. I will always be making some form of travel content, but I think right now at this chapter in my life, you know, I'm here with my family. I'm in New Zealand. I love it. I love being here. I love being outside, and I'm going to be making more content about that, about being here, about being a dad, and about being in the outdoors. That's what you can expect moving forward. Cam Yuri asks, what do you think about YouTubers or influencers who use their children's image and privacy to advertise and profit from them? Okay, so this is definitely a thing online, and as a new parent, we have made a choice as a family to, for now, protect the privacy of our daughter. She doesn't have a voice right now to consent or even an understanding to consent to being online, and she'll have plenty of time to do that when she's, you know, grown up. But for now, we've made the choice to kind of protect her privacy, protect her face. She can be in videos. We just don't really feel the need to show her face right now. And that's just our personal choice as a family. Now, regarding what other people do, firstly, it's not really my place to say one way or another. I can tell you that I think each family has to make that choice for themselves. But I also think that there is a level where it can be a little much, perhaps a touch cringe. There are creators out there who, you know, put their kids front row center in the content that they make, and that's their choice as parents. There's enough information and research coming out that shows the potential harm that social media can do to young people, and we've made a choice as a family to try to minimize that, even though we're creators and we make a living sharing content and videos online. We've made the choice for now to do what we can to keep these things especially away from our daughter's young developing mind. But that's our choice. And every family has their own different set of needs and different set of realities. So I'm not passing judgment on any way that you as a parent choose to raise your child. I think it's an incredibly personal journey, and everybody's reality is slightly different. So that's our choice. We've made the choice to try to minimize screen time for as long as possible with our daughter, and to not feel the need to profit or exploit her image for financial gain. That's our stance on it. Now, will there be a time when perhaps we feel like, hey, we're gonna share a family photo that shows Eliana's face? That might happen. We're not like totally opposed to it, but for now, you know, we've come this far. She's 8 months old next week, and we don't really feel the need to share her image, even though we know it would probably do really well on the algorithm because she's cute as a button. But we don't need to do that. And for now, this is the choice that we've made as a family, and we feel very comfortable with it. Traveling Dan asks, what are my top 3 or 5 greatest travel memories that you can remember? Oh, okay. Right off the bat, my brother and I won this travel contest called The Biggest Baddest Bucket List back in 2012. That's what started this whole journey as a YouTube creator and as a travel creator. And it was a wild trip. We traveled to 25 destinations in 25 countries in 25 weeks. It was a lot. We shot 2 videos a week, wrote multiple blog posts, and had to deliver like 100 edited photos from each destination every single week while traveling, while capturing content. So it was a lot. Long nights, little sleep, lots of jet lag. But I have a distinct memory of being in Kazakhstan, and we were out on like the edge of the Central Asian plains, the plateau, like where all of the, like the Mongols and all of those horse nomad cultures came from. And we were out there on mountain bikes with our local host, and we came upon a camp. Horses everywhere in this beautiful valley, right on the edge of these plains where you could literally just see to the horizon. And there was like an old Soviet observatory on the top of the plateau, and below it this camp. The men in the camp like motioned for us to come over, so we go over there, and it's kind of in the afternoon. They're in a yurt, which is like a Central Asian large tent that the nomadic people use. They can set it up and break it down, travel with it as the herds of horses go from grazing grounds to grazing grounds. And in it was a group of Kazakhs. I think there was a guy from like Azerbaijan and like a Georgian. It was a very funky little post-Soviet mixture of people, but they were getting after it. And they had a big bottle of like moonshine vodka in an old 2-liter Coca-Cola bottle, and they were just doing shots. And if you've ever been to that part of the world, that's like how hospitality is shown. You got to do the shots. And so we ended up getting pretty hammered pretty fast with these nomads drinking vodka in their yurt, and the translator, after multiple shots, far too many, goes, I can see he's uncomfortable. And then I say, what did he just say? The leader of the nomad guys. And he's like, well, he's offered to slaughter a horse for you. And we were like, oh my God, what? And he's like, then he whispers, we have to say no, but we have to do it politely. This is, you know, obviously it's an honor to be offered it, but if they slaughter that horse, it means we have to stay until the whole animal is eaten. So we'll be here for a week, sleeping in the same yurt as these guys, drinking way too much vodka, and eating horse meat. So somehow we managed to extricate ourselves from the situation, and I just distinctly remember one of the guys climbing on top of the back of a horse, no saddle, and taking off like surfing on a horse across the plains. And that was a really fun travel memory. For brevity's sake, the next one, Jamaica with the Maroons. The Maroons have their own autonomous nation in the mountains of Jamaica. We shot a super awesome episode over on the Vaga Brothers channel. You can watch that. That was an incredible experience, hanging out with them, learning about how they live in this lush jungle. And then I really loved traveling to Peru. I studied the Inca and the Maya and Mesoamerican cultures in university. And so I really loved like going to Sacsayhuaman, outside of Cusco, to Machu Picchu. Even though it's very crowded, it's an incredible place. And, you know, seeing like the Temple of the Sun in the museum there in Cusco, that was incredible. And then also the last one was, you know, this 2011, I shot a pilot for a television episode with my friend Major Ken Hames, who's a former British SAS officer. We went to Namibia, the northern mountains of Namibia, and tried to cross this mountain range in search of a hunter-gatherer tribe that lived up there. And unfortunately, we weren't able to achieve the mission of crossing the mountain range. It got pretty hairy in there, really, really hot. We ran out of water. And for a moment there, it was looking pretty dire, but we were able to find a way out with our local Himba guide, the Himba tribe, Pete. That was probably the coolest outdoors experience I've ever had in my life. Like sleeping under the stars in Africa, listening to lions and hyenas at night, and yeah, trying to cross this mountain range, spending time with tribal peoples in Africa. So it's definitely up there. I'd love to get back to Namibia. Incredible place. And Major Ken, if you're watching, love you. I think we should be able to pull some coals out of here. There's some good ones in there. Bacon. Eliza Berm 8809 asks, tips for not getting overwhelmed with lots of projects and a large to-do list. Also, I miss your food content, recipes. Would you consider sharing those again? More food content for sure, more recipe content. In regards to large to-do lists, every day, look at that list and put the most pressing thing first. Deal with the thing that you actually need to accomplish that day. Work on the most pressing, most important project first, and then once that's done, move on to the second one. So take your list, prioritize it, and then work away at those most pressing things. Now, there is kind of a catch with that, because if you're constantly working on the most pressing things, there are certain things like on your medium term to long term list that end up falling through the cracks. So what I like to do is work on the most pressing things for a while and get those done, get those out of the way. Then when I have a more mellow day, I can kind of work on some of those other projects that aren't quite as important but you'd like to get done and do those a little bit at a time. That needs a little more. That one's good though. Let's go. Look at that. Wow. Smoky, buttery, bacony, and delicious. Yum. All right, well, that was delicious. That was super fun. If you enjoyed the outdoor cooking, give this video a thumbs up. Tell me in the comments. Tell me if you want more. Hopefully you enjoyed the Q&A. It's been a while since we've had a catch up. If you got more questions, we want to do round 2. Drop those questions down in the comment section. If you're new, click subscribe. We got more content coming. More homestead reno, more outdoor cooking, more camping, fishing, harvesting food, and then some more travel stuff too. So we got a little bit of everything happening in the near future here. And I hope you're all well. I hope you're happy, healthy, staying safe and sane in this weird, wild world that we all live in. And we'll catch you all in the next video very, very soon. Hasta luego.